In the decade since I was retired, I've used a number of retirement tools, some free and some I paid for because they've proven their net worth. The goal is to know that I have enough to last through a DIY retirement. In the next tip, I'll discuss how to find the right tools. One I've used is Boldin, which I've described in earlier videos, but you may need more to see your full retirement. This is the fourth in 7 simple tips I've learned in the first decade of my DIY retirement. Stay tuned. Most retirees ask the wrong question. They say, how is my portfolio doing today? They may look at their monthly or quarterly statements to see how they're tracking. But what they should be looking at is, will this plan last the next 30 years? Between Social Security timing and tax shifts and healthcare costs, no DIY spreadsheet can accurately portray your long-range picture. For the big picture, professionals use expensive software that costs from $2,000 to nearly $5,000 a year per seat. That's money that the firms pass on to their clients through those high AUM fees. But DIY retirees need to find options that can offer most of what that pro software does at a fraction of the cost. We need to run a Monte Carlo projection or plan for tax strategies and use a Social Security optimizer and do some what-if scenarios, but we need to find it for free or under $150 a year, sort of like what a TurboTax might cost. I've used Boldin for that big picture, but there is a massive blind spot in its software. And stick around and I'll show you the tools that I use to round out my view of retirement. Now, I've been using Boldin since 2019 when it was called New Retirement. You can see a whole playlist of prior videos that I've done on the software. And by the way, I'm not a Boldin partner. I'm not sponsored by Boldin on this channel. I'm just a long-term user. Here's why I still go to it for my long-range planning. It excels at long-range income and spending projections. You can model your spending to change by decade, and you can explore various income streams like a part-time job for the next 5 years. Boldin also includes a Social Security Explorer to model claiming strategies of 62 versus 67 versus 70. And I've discussed its Roth Conversion Explorer, which helps you to see a series of Roth conversions over several years that may help minimize your taxes in retirement. Boldin also gives you options to change the assumptions on inflation and healthcare spending and investment returns. Broker options like Fidelity and Schwab and Vanguard sometimes lock in those assumptions. It does provide the Monte Carlo analysis as well as its own optimistic and pessimistic forecasts. And it allows you to compare various scenarios. Now, here's the honest part no sponsored review of Boldin will tell you, and it's exactly why I need other tools. While Boldin can show you the tax buckets, as in this picture from the Insights of Net Worth, it cannot show you the overall asset allocation of your portfolio today. So while Boldin does long-range planning, it doesn't clearly show where you are today with your overall asset allocation. And if you use a 3-bucket retirement strategy, as I do, you can't see your assets by time buckets. And that's the detail that you need when you start thinking about strategic withdrawals and rebalancing and making sure you have tactical asset location within your tax bucket. My portfolio by bucket spreadsheet does what Boldin can't do. It shows me the overall asset allocation, and I can see asset allocation across 3 time buckets and 3 tax buckets. At a glance, I can see where I can rebalance in my tax deferred accounts, and I can ensure that I have the right asset locations within taxable and tax-free accounts. Now, there are other tools like Empower, which was formerly Personal Capital, that can provide this global overall asset allocation, but it can't show a time bucket view. Now, you can download my spreadsheet to see if you can adapt it as a tool that will help supplement Boldin's long-range projections for your retirement. Finding the right tools, sometimes using a pair of pliers and a screwdriver to bolt down your DIY retirement plan. The goal of these tools is not to make retirement planning more complicated, but it's to give you confidence. And when you can see the whole plan, the long-range view, and day-to-day, you can stop making decisions out of fear and start making them out of clarity. Tools give you clarity, but they don't make the hard choices for you. The biggest choice that many of us will make is when to claim Social Security, and we'll talk about that in next week's tip number 5. Hey, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more DIY retirement tips, and be sure to check the links below for Boldin, Empower, my free spreadsheet, and a playlist of all 7 tips. I am not a professional. I have no initials after my name, so take these as entertaining ideas from one DIY retiree to another. Always do your own due diligence and seek out a professional if you need one.